Our Leader of the Opposition, our Vice Chancellor, Professor Sir Hilary Beckles, our Pro-Vice Chancellor and Principal of the Mona Campus, Professor Archibald MacDonald. I think I saw the Principal of our Open Campus, Dr. Luz Longsworth, Pro-Vice Chancellors and other members of the UWI community, our former Governor General and our former Prime Ministers, Ministers of State, the Attorney General, members of the Diplomatic Corps, members of the Senate, members of the House of Representatives, other distinguished guests, and in particular, representatives of the Prime Minister's alma mater, St. Catherine High School. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is indeed an honor for me and a pleasure to chair this very special ceremony this morning when the University of the West Indies will induct the Most Honourable Prime Minister, Andrew Holness, in the park in honor of graduates who are or who have been heads of government. The park was established at the UWI Mona campus in 2005. At that time, the decision was taken to include the names of graduates who had served as prime ministers of their respective countries up to that time. Accordingly, in 2005, the following persons were inducted in the roll of honor: the Most Honourable Percival J. Patterson of Jamaica, Dr. the Honourable Sir Kennedy Simmons of St. Kitts and Nevis, the Right Honourable Sir Lloyd Erskine Sandiford of Barbados, the Honourable Dr. Orlando Smith of the British Virgin Islands, Dr. the Honourable Ralph Gonsalves of the St. Vincent and Grenadines, the Honourable Patrick Manning, then Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, the Right Honourable Owen Arthur of Barbados, Dr. the Honourable Keith Mitchell of Grenada, Dr. the Honourable Kenny Anthony of St. Lucia, and the Honourable Dr. Denzel Douglas of St. Kitts and Nevis. Having inducted these graduates, it was further agreed by the university that the names of other graduates who became Prime Minister would be inscribed in the roll of honor in our park. Accordingly, induction ceremonies have also been held for the Honourable Bruce Golding of Jamaica, the Honourable David Thompson of Barbados, the Honourable Kamla Prasad Bisesar of Trinidad and Tobago, and Dr. the Honourable Keith Rowley also of Trinidad and Tobago. There are now some 22 graduates of the University of the West Indies who have gone on to become leaders of government, and for this, the University of the West Indies is proud. This park is an important symbol for us for several reasons. It represents the UWI's commitment and focus on preparing the distinctive graduate, one who is a critical and creative thinker, with a regional frame of reference, a problem solver and leader, and one who is socially and culturally responsive, ethical, innovative, and entrepreneurial, and a lifelong self-motivated learner. It provides powerful evidence of the UWI's ability to produce leaders to serve at the highest levels of government. And it testifies to the enduring ability of the University of the West Indies to remain relevant, viable, and responsive to the needs of the people of the region by its production of so many prominent graduates contributing in a meaningful way to national and regional development. It is therefore with profound pleasure that this morning we will add our Prime Minister to the list of distinguished graduates who has not only personified the distinctive graduate, but who has also now become a head of government. As we celebrate, As we celebrate today, we ask you to join us in this celebration. Before we move on, we would wish to recognize the presence of 3 important participants today. First, we start with the St. Catherine High School Band. The St. Catherine High School is the Prime Minister's alma mater, and the band was especially invited to perform today and to share this moment with him. The band is part of a larger performing arts group which placed second in the Jamaica Best School Band for 2017. I think we can give them a round of applause. We also have with us this morning, and you would have been hearing them this morning, young people from the Penwood High School drummers who performed so ably this morning and on the arrival of the Prime Minister. Penwood, of course, is located in the Prime Minister's constituency, and the Penwood drummers have been performing together since they were in grade 7. They have been the recipients of many awards from the Jamaica Cultural Development Commission. And last but by no means least, we welcome our own university singers, world acclaimed locally, internationally, regionally. We all know of the university singers, and we look forward to hearing from them later in the program. We do hope that this morning's ceremony will be etched in your memory for a long time to come as we celebrate this occasion with our most honorable Prime Minister. Do enjoy the time. I will now invite the principal of the Mona campus, Professor Archibald MacDonald, to formally welcome you. Professor MacDonald will be followed by our Vice Chancellor, Professor Sir Hilary Beckles. Please welcome our principal.
Prime Minister, the Most Honourable Andrew Holness, the Honourable Mrs. Holness, Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Peter Phillips, our Vice Chancellor, our Principal of the Open Campus, PBC Luz Longsworth, and other Pro-Vice Chancellors, members of the Cabinet, former Principal, the Honourable Gordon Shirley, and also former Principal and former Governor General, Sir Kenneth Hall, former Prime Ministers, Ministers of State, Attorney General, members of the Diplomatic Corps, members of the Senate, members of the House of Representatives, other special guests of our Prime Minister, other distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is my distinct pleasure to welcome you to the grounds of the University of the West Indies, Mona campus, as we celebrate the induction of Prime Minister Andrew Holness into our Prime Minister's Park. This is indeed a wonderful occasion for all of us to celebrate and recognize the outstanding achievements of one of the UWI's most distinguished graduates. This is an occasion that, as principal, I hope will inspire our many current students to strive for excellence, as it formally confirms to them that hard work, perseverance, and the belief in one's own ability will take you along a path of greatness. Prime Minister Holness, the UWI is pleased to induct you into this park, scribing your name permanently into a monument that is dedicated to some of the Caribbean's most distinguished leaders and trailblazers. The responsibility that you hold in leading a great nation and acting as a cornerstone to building the strength of our region is immense, but one that I'm sure has inspired many of our youths to follow on a similar path to success. Your work, dedication to Jamaica, and your commitment to building a better future for our youths define what true and positive leadership should be. And I am pleased that our students, our current students, are able to assert that they attend the same tertiary institution that has contributed to your personal and professional success over the years. At a time when the proportion of youth relative to the total population of the region is at its highest level since the 1980s, it is a critical juncture to invest in our young people and plant the seeds of nation building. For those of us who haven't been noting this fact, it is now time to pay attention. In a few years, the young people you see moving about on this campus will be the same group occupying decision-making positions and solving the problems of the present and future through innovation. This is what makes today's induction so special. Our inductee today is the youngest Prime Minister to have graduated from the UWI Mona campus. And I think you should applaud that. And the manifestation of those seeds sown not so long ago, right here on this very campus. Though today is his moment in the spotlight, I must also acknowledge his equally distinguished spouse and Member of Parliament for East Rural St. Andrew, the Most Honourable Mrs. Holness. She's also a graduate of the University of the West Indies, who has demonstrated her tenacity and courage in the face of seemingly insurmountable challenges. At a time when gender issues and equal representation are squarely on the table of discussion, this union is a powerful demonstration of what is possible with the right preparation and mindset. And we at the Mona campus of the University of the West Indies are proud to have been the genesis of it all. The focal point of Prime Minister Holness's work for the people of Jamaica is developing and improving the educational infrastructure of our country. Prime Minister Holness has distinguished himself as a leader who recognizes the important and transformative effect of a solid education and the opportunity it provides our society for enhancing its growth potential and its sustainability within the global marketplace. It is therefore apropos that as a higher learning institution, we formally recognize the work of one of our greatest champions for learning and education. I hope that the legacy, Prime Minister, you continue to build is one that reinforces our current and future students that education is the key and that their dreams and aspirations can be achieved with hard work, commitment, and a sound educational foundation. Indeed, education breaks down many barriers to success, and the UWI is pleased to applaud the works of one of our most distinguished graduates who has continued to fight for the right of all to enjoy the many benefits and opportunities provided by a sound education. And I wish to add, sir, that more recently you have emerged as one of the champions of working people, and I applaud you for this. As principal of the Mona campus of the University of the West Indies, I would like to extend my warmest congratulations to you, Prime Minister Holness, on your formal induction into our UWI's Prime Minister's Park. This monument commemorates your lifelong work and contributions to building our great nation and region. It is always an honor for me to celebrate the work of our distinguished graduates, particularly one who is a sitting Prime Minister of my very own country, Jamaica. And the UWI thanks you immensely for continuing to support the development and growth of our institution. As our motto suggests, Oriens ex Occidente lux. Prime Minister Holness, you are the personification of the light rising from the West. Thank you all for joining us, and I hope that you enjoy. Thanks for joining us, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of today's activities in honor of our Prime Minister. Thank you.
Our celebrated Prime Minister and Mrs. Holness, former Prime Ministers Siaga and Golden, Professor Sir Kenneth Hall, Dr. Phillips, Leader of the Opposition, this fine panel of ministers, and I must take the opportunity to say that, of course, Minister Reid is now my co-conspirator. And Delroy Chucks is my former colleague from KFL, from whence we came. And of course, all of my friends, Babsy, my sweetheart, and Minister Henry, of course, we are committed to ensuring that the colonialists pay for the injustices. Excellencies, distinguished members of Parliament, Lady Beckles, all of my colleagues, students and friends, very good morning, everyone. This is a magnificent gathering of the UWI family in all of its pluralities and diversities. We are happy to say that UWI is a very large tent that can accommodate all perspectives on the social and economic development of our people. This morning, while I was having breakfast, I was listening to Bob Marley, and I want to do a little paraphrasing. The sun is shining and the weather is sweet, and we are going to sweep Andrew off his feet. Well, I think that works. But we are met to celebrate the relations of an alumnus to his campus and university. The celebration of one is the empowerment of the other, an indivisible bond of our emotional existence. Today, we will concretize that relationship. UWI is a place where dreams are fulfilled. The Prime Minister's alma mater has given him a first-class education to run with. A beautiful and smart wife to run to. A great country to run, and a region to run for. We celebrate our Prime Minister's journey as a youth from the valley to the hilltop. That is not the hilltop, that's a hilltop, a metaphor. I do not wish to discuss that subject. Such a journey we urge all Jamaican youth to undertake. It is the dream of our ancestors and the hope which we must go to with full energy and determination. Your journey, Prime Minister, is a metaphor of our time that speaks to the irrepressible ability of our people, irrespective of their social origins. You, sir, you are democracy in action. The call to the youth to rise and shine, to be a beacon for your generation, and to have a home and a family with a view. Well done, Prime Minister. Well done. The task ahead has been described by those with a pessimistic view as dread. But we believe all things are possible when a country is well led. You, Prime Minister, you are off to a smart start on all fronts. Economic growth. We celebrate your initiative. We celebrate the role of the Honourable Michael Lee Chen and his determination to mobilize this nation to achieve the 5 and 4. We in UWI, we are committed to the objectives of the growth paradigm. We have given Mr. Michael Lee Chen our full assurance. In fact, we are preparing for him a full proposal that sets out the way in which we can imagine this entire zone, UWI, UTEC, Hope Pastures, Ligony, all the way to New Kingston as an innovation and education park that could be a center for growth and development in Jamaica. We celebrate your commitment to social growth, because for us in academia, social growth is as important as economic growth. And we thank you especially for your leadership on the Coral Gardens apology issue. The colonial state, we will hold accountable for the crimes committed against humanity. We are committed to reparatory justice. But our national states that have followed the colonial state must not follow in their relationship to power and our people. We celebrate the wisdom of your choice to offer that apology to those earliest victims of the national state, because we cannot demand reparatory justice from the imperial state until we have put our own house in order. You, Prime Minister, you are the first in our region to do so. But we understand. We understood clearly that it was going to take a little time to uproot the legacies of the imperial state as the national state comes fully into its own legitimacy. I would suggest, Prime Minister, that what Jamaica needs now also is a social growth czar, very much in the way that Michael Lee Chin is the economic growth czar. We also need a social growth czar. And we say this, Prime Minister, because of the following. The UNDP report for the Caribbean and for Jamaica in 2016 has shown that inequality is the principal item that is holding back the advancement of our economies and our people. It has also shown that until we eradicate poverty and formulate appropriate policies, that we will not achieve the growth we want in the economy if the society is left unaddressed. We have the example of Trinidad and Tobago. In the last 20 years, Trinidad and Tobago, before the collapse of oil prices, was achieving 6 to 7% growth in the economy per year over a 15-year period. At the end of that growth process, poverty increased in Trinidad, inequality increased in Trinidad, and crime and violence increased in Trinidad despite the economic growth. We therefore have to realize the need for balance, and in my judgment, Prime Minister, an educational system committed to equity is the way forward, and Minister Reid and I are in agreement. Minister Reid and I wish I could divulge our secrets that we are planning for Jamaica, but I will not divulge. I will leave that to the Honourable Minister to lay out his strategy when he is ready. The Minister is doing a fine job in that regard. We thank you also, Prime Minister, for your regional commission. I have not yet seen this report, but I have had ample opportunity, Mr. Bruce Golden, to share with your commission my views on the matter, and I am sure that that report will set out a growth paradigm for CARICOM, a framework for the 21st century. And I'm sure that it will. We are also sure that it will lay the foundation for what effectively will be a 3D strategy: data collection, discussion, and decision. Decision-making has held back CARICOM, and no doubt, sir, your report will indicate the way in which we should fix that. So, Prime Minister, it is my pleasure to welcome you home, for your UWI family to embrace your good self, sir, and your madam, welcome you back to Mona. I urge that you put up your feet and allow your UWI family to spoil you this morning. Thank you, Prime Minister. Thank you, ministers. Thank you, everyone.
We would like to thank our Principal and our Vice Chancellor for bringing both a welcome and those most interesting remarks from our Vice Chancellor in a way that only our Vice Chancellor can do. Thank you both so much. At this time, we're going to invite the St. Catherine High School Band to perform Umaju Na Amani. As we said, the St. Catherine High School is the Prime Minister's alma mater, and this band has been performing outstandingly over the years. So let's welcome them as they perform for us.
love grow today. Today. What we need is love. What we need is love to help love grow today. Today. You see a brother just say one love, let your good vibes flow. You see a sister just say one love, let your good vibes flow. You see another just say one love, set the examples for the youth now. You see another just say blessed love, and let the love shine through. See we don't need no more of the bad fight, no more of the war and the gunfight. Mother Nature shows signs of a new time. Everybody sing this line. What we need is love to help love grow today. Today. What we need is love. What we need is love to help love grow today. Today. I see the crystal raindrops fall, and the beauty of it all is when the sun comes shining, 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 to make those rainbows in my mind. When I think of you sometimes, and I wanna spend some precious quality all of my time. Ba-ba-da-ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Ba-ba-da-ba-bum, ba-ba-da-da-da. Ba-ba-dum, ba-ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. Ba-ba-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da. With my love, with my words, and all I ask of you is that you love as I do. Oh, and if you're thirsty, I will quench you with my love, and if you're hungry, I will feed you with my words. And all I ask of you is that you love as I do. With my love, with my love, with my word, with my word. Whoa. With my love, only love to bring you peace. With my word, won't you try, try to love. With my love, with my word. Whoa. And if you're thirsty, I will quench you with my love. And if you're hungry, I will feed you with my word. And all I ask of you is that you love as I do. Whoa.
Okay, I know you want to clap a little louder, a little longer, a little better. That's outstanding, isn't it? Thank you so much, St. Catherine High. At this time, it's my pleasure to invite Mr. Tahir Thompson, a first-year Faculty of Law student, an active resident of the Astor AZ Preston Hall, and chorale coordinator for the Preston Entertainment, Arts and Cultural Ensemble, and a member of our debating society at the University of the West Indies, Mona. Tahir will come and introduce to you our Prime Minister. Tahir.
Vice-Chancellor Sir Hilary Beckles, the Most Honourable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica, Pro-Vice-Chancellor and Principal of the UWI Mona, Professor Archibald MacDonald, Campus Registrar Dr. Camille Bell Hutchinson, and other members of the UWI Mona administration, other members of government, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Dreams and resolutions are meaningless until we open our eyes and convert them to a vision through strategic planning and into the reality we want by disciplined effort, diligent work, and faith in God. A quote from a visionary leader and a true inspiration for the youth of Jamaica, who I am honored to introduce to you today. The Most Honourable Andrew Holness was first elected as Member of Parliament to represent the constituency of West Central St. Andrew in 1997 at the age of 25. Now in his fourth consecutive term as MP, Mr. Holness became Jamaica's 9th Prime Minister on February 25, 2016. Andrew Holness was born to working-class parents on July 22, 1972, in Spanish Town, St. Catherine. At age 43, Mr. Holness is Jamaica's youngest Prime Minister to date and the first born after national independence. He is married to Juliet, who is a first-term Member of Parliament for East Rural St. Andrew, a chartered accountant and real estate developer. They have 2 sons, Adam, 13, and Matthew, 11. Mr. Holness first served as head of government from October 2011 to January 2012, having succeeded former Prime Minister, the Honourable Bruce Golding. Prior to assuming the awesome responsibility of leading the nation, Mr. Holness has worked steadily at various levels of the political and governance systems. He has focused on several key portfolios, including social welfare, community development, housing, and education. He served in the latter field both as the opposition spokesperson on education and in the cabinet as Minister of Education. He brought national attention and focus to literacy and has instituted several programs to place Jamaica on the path to universal literacy at the primary level. Under his watch, Jamaica saw the introduction of the Career Advancement Program, CAP, a post-secondary technical and vocational training program for unattached youth. He also introduced fundamental reforms to the education system, including the establishment of institutions such as the Jamaica Teaching Council, the National Education Trust, the National Education Inspectorate, the National College for Educational Leadership, the Centers of Excellence Program, and the Alternative Secondary Transition Education Program, ASTEP, designed to support students falling behind in general education. Andrew Holness holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Management Studies and the Master of Science degree in Government and Public Policy from the University of the West Indies, Mona campus. The university is proud to recognize him among its graduates. Ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to stand and help me welcome the Prime Minister of Jamaica, the Most Honourable Andrew Michael Holness.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that introduction, Madam Master of Ceremonies, Dr. Camille Bell Hutchinson, Professor Beckles, I know you have a flight to catch. And I've asked you to stay because primarily I'm going to be responding to you. But I will be quick. Mr. Principal, some thought this day would never come. I wasn't one of them. My colleagues in the cabinet, ministers of state, the leader of the opposition, who is also an alumni, and of course, you will permit me for making this exception, the most honorable Juliet Holness. Member of Parliament, former prime ministers, people say my political father, the most honorable Edward Philip George Siaga. And then Mr. Golding would be my political uncle. Of course, former Governor General Sir Kenneth Hall, the good people who have all come out to be a part of this moment, friends and family, my alma mater, well-wishers, just people who want to participate in this moment. I am very, very humbled by this honor. And I want to thank the University of the West Indies, such a very important institution in our society, for bestowing this honor on me. Thank you very much. I have a few comments to make. When I was accepted into the University of the West Indies, I didn't know where the first cent was going to come from. My father said he would obviously assist. He is also an alumni of the University of the West Indies. And my mother said, who was a civil servant, on a civil servant salary, she said, well, I'll do my best. So I came to the University of the West Indies on an adventure. And what an adventure it has turned out to be. I start there to say that students who want to pursue higher education should never make the financing an obstacle. There will be a way, there is always a way. If you search hard enough, you will find a way. But I'm not impractical. Tertiary education is very expensive. And with the best will, some students will not be able to afford it. The government recently took a decision to assist students who were unable to pay their tuition or had balances remaining on their tuition, which would see them being prevented from sitting their examinations. If you were to look at it from an economic perspective, as an economic decision, it is not a good decision. Effectively, we would be setting a principle, a trend, or an expectation. But, Professor Beckles, you asked for a social czar. How could you miss me? So we took a decision because in the long run, it is the right decision. But when we are taking social decisions, the responsibilities are on both sides. So those who have benefited from the decision must pay back and pay forward. So yes, we have assisted, but you must pay back so that others can benefit. And you must pay forward. Help others who are coming. Give back to society. And I will use that as a pivot point because when I came to the University of the West Indies, there was a sense amongst my cohort of entitlement. And I believe that it may still exist now, that the society owes us because we are the brightest. Unfortunately, that may have been the case in the 60s when we did not have to consider paying 7% of our GDP back in debt repayments. Where when you stepped out of the university gate, jobs were there waiting for you. The cohort in university now does not have that luxury and cannot hold on to a sense of entitlement. The reality is that we have not grown, Professor, in any significant way in almost 40 years. My duty, my obligation is to break that trend, to return economic growth to Jamaica. But more than that, you are right in pointing out the example, Professor Beckles, that there are countries whose economies will grow geometrically, but inequality and poverty will become endemic. The growth of which we speak is a growth of prosperity, not for some, but for all. It is inclusive. So we say economic growth and job creation. Two things go together because the deal is if the economy grows, how you guarantee that people get benefits from that is through work, through employment, by giving people independence in their hands. And that's what we as a government want to achieve. But history has shown that for us to achieve all the social transformation, the educational transformation, to reduce crime, to reduce inequality, and I still believe that we can end poverty in Jamaica, we must grow our economy. We must get the engine of economic growth cranked up, revved up, and speeding up. The University of the West Indies has a critical role to play in that. You are the builders of the social human capital that is necessary to drive economic growth. I do come to the campus from time to time, and I must say that it is not the same campus that I attended over 20 years ago. The leadership of the university has made significant investment in improving the infrastructure, and we are very proud of this. My wife was looking across, and commented, what's happening over there? And my wife lived on Irving. Irving Hall. You were from Irving too, Minister Bartlett? And I'm seeing some wonderful high-rise structures going up. And I mentioned to the principal, what's happening over there? He said, well, you know, we're refurbishing, we're rebuilding, we're renovating, you know, we're moving on up. So I asked him if he had any plans for Chancellor Hall. And there are some sentimental attachments there, which if you're going to change it, principal, don't change it too much. But you are doing what is necessary to lay the foundation for growth. And we're pleased with that. I want to just make another brief comment on the financing of tertiary education. Professor Beckles, you mentioned inequality. When we look at the total spend on education in the budget, on a per student basis, the university student would have several times the budget of a primary student, and certainly of a high school student, or even a student at the early childhood level. It means, therefore, that if we don't grow the budget and we took a decision to expand tertiary, then it would mean a decision to contract elsewhere. And that's the reality. So the conversation that we have to have amongst the leadership of the country, and I'm happy to see the leader of the opposition here today, I'm very grateful for your presence, Dr. Phillips, is if we are going to expand tertiary education, then the subsidy may have to shift from the fees to a subsidy for financing, meaning that you have to make it easier and more accessible for students to finance the education rather than to give a subsidy for fees. It might be not the best model, but it is the model that I believe that could see an expansion in the number of students entering tertiary education. It is the ability to access the financing of tertiary education, making it affordable over the lifetime of the student, treating it more like a mortgage on a house, because effectively your tertiary education is your greatest capital acquisition. It probably would mean an increase in the total cost borne by each person wanting to access. But when I started university and I took my student loan, I said, will I ever pay this back? This is expensive. This is a huge debt. But 20 years on, the value that you would have created from your tertiary education easily repays your student loan. So in this context of a very fixed education budget, the solution has to be, how do we encourage financial institutions plus the government to increase the pool of the student loan, make the interest rates affordable, give programs where the skills that the country needs are given preferential or preferred treatment, greater programs of bonding, and at the same time, expanding the offerings of the universities. And I think it is a conversation that we need to have. We can't implement such a measure right away, but we must at least start the discussion. Otherwise, we will continue every year to have students who start their courses, can't pay for it, and the government in some way has to respond because the University Guild of Students are very active and very influential. So the political pressure will always be there for the government to respond. And what will eventually happen is that the government will have to make decisions, maybe not even consciously, moving funds from one area into tertiary. Instead, let us consciously look at the problem and come up with the solution. What I have suggested is just one. There may be others. And so the debate, I'm using this platform to start the public debate, and I will be engaging the opposition outside of Parliament and within Parliament for us to have this conversation about how do we have a new model for financing tertiary education, the objective being to expand its access. I know you have to catch your flight, Professor Beckles, but one last thing. On the social side, I have not yet said it publicly, but Professor Beckles, in his intuitive style, has picked it up, that the government does have a social transformation agenda. And it is indeed, in my view, a very deep and powerful transformation agenda. It centers on several areas of focus, one of them being transforming Jamaica from a violent society. A society that uses violence as the first resort in resolving conflict, that uses violence as a tool in social transactions. And we have to change that. Violence is one of the 5 leading causes of death. And I'm committed to changing that in Jamaica. And we have started several programs in that regard. The other transformation that I would like to see happen in Jamaica is for Jamaicans to take responsibility for their destiny, their future, their outcomes. We do too many things and then turn around and blame others. We are not as conscious as we should be in the society about the number of children we have. And we have said that social responsibility means that you should have the children you can afford to give the best quality life. Social responsibility. Don't tell me anything else about trying to curb race and this and all the other things that come with it. You are doing more damage to your race by having children that are not going to be supported by you as the father. And it is time that we stand up and face that kind of culture squarely. On the matter of reparations, I believe in reparations, but it must start in our country first. Our state has done damage to our people. And we must repair that first so that we have the moral authority to look others in the face. And so I have started that process. It is a genuine process. Now, I can't tell you that we will have the money, but reparations don't always come down to money. People, I believe, want to hear an acknowledgement of the wrong. I am sorry and will endeavor not to do it again. It is a challenge that we face in the fight against crime. I mean, there are those who would want to see old-style policing unleashed. But we are not going to fight crime with illegality. We have asked for more powers to fight crime, and we are putting in place the measures to make sure that the powers are not easily used for abuse. We are putting in place the measures to ensure that the people who will have those legal powers are people who understand that their role is to protect human life, to protect and preserve the innocent. I am very optimistic about the future of my country. I am confident that we will end poverty and bring prosperity to our people. It is time for Jamaica to rise and take its true place in history. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister. It's now my pleasure to invite the university singers who will bring us an item. Let's welcome them as they come forward. The renowned, acclaimed university singers. And we thank the Vice Chancellor. He has to leave, as we have heard several times. He does have a flight, which I hope he will catch. Thank you, VC. Let's hear it for the University Singers. Okay, so we're coming down to the most important part of our program. And I'd like to just take you through the next few minutes, what we're going to be doing and how we see you participating with us in that activity. So the principal will come forward shortly and will formally, verbally induct the Prime Minister into our roll of honor and for this morning. Once the principal has done that, he will also invite the Prime Minister to recognize this moment by signing a book at the table to the left. I will escort the Prime Minister across. The principal will signify that when he speaks to us shortly. Once that has been done, we're going to invite the Prime Minister, the Honourable Mrs. Holness, his family, and the former Prime Ministers to join the principal and myself at the park itself, where he will unveil the plaque which positions him on our monument. So what we're asking you to do is that once we leave the stage, we're asking you to remain seated while the Prime Minister's family, the former Prime Ministers, the principal, and myself will move towards the monument. Only after his family and the former Prime Ministers has moved towards will we ask you to join. So we're going to just ask you to wait while the Prime Minister leaves with his family and the former Prime Ministers, the principal, and myself as we move towards the monument. So at this moment, I'm going to invite our principal, Pro-Vice Chancellor, Professor Archibald MacDonald, to formally induct our Prime Minister, the Most Honourable Andrew Holness, in the roll of honor at the Mona campus. Principal MacDonald. Thanks. My boss is making sure I take things right. So what I omitted to say is once we have the Prime Minister's family, the former Prime Ministers, or members of Cabinet, how could I have left you out? You know, Minister Reid told me this morning I was ignoring him, and there goes again. I wasn't, promise, word of honor, I wasn't. So we will have our members of Cabinet, of course, following from the former Prime Ministers, leading out into the role. Thank you, Principal.
Thank you so much, Registrar. On this 3rd day of May in the year 2017, it gives me great pleasure as Pro-Vice Chancellor and Principal of the University of the West Indies, Mona campus, to induct in the park in honor of UWI graduates who are or have been heads of government, the Most Honourable Andrew Michael Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica, who is the 23rd graduate of the University of the West Indies, to be installed as a head of government. Please applaud him. To commemorate this very special occasion, I will now ask the Most Honourable Prime Minister to sign the official university book and to unveil the plaque placed on the monument in the park in his honor.
Oh, just a second.
to ask to hold the scissors. What kind of unveiling?
Yes.
When you cut the one there, the balloons will go up. So we're just gonna.
So I cut it at the bottom.
Good, good. Just gonna for a moment. Mr. Siago, this is the monument.
Years ago, yeah.
We're just right. So we're just explaining what the monument is. So the Prime Minister is going to cut the ribbon, and the balloons will blow up. Okay. Hello. Testing. Testing.
Prime Minister, we congratulate you because I'm running. Because
Hello. Testing. Testing. Are you hearing anything? So the Prime Minister has now been formally inducted, and it says the Most Honourable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica, 1991 to 1994, the BSc Management Studies, Mona Campus, 2003 to 2007, the MSc in Governance and Public Policy at Mona. We are pleased that our Prime Minister, the Most Honourable Andrew Holness, is now formally inducted in our roll of honour. Thank you. This brings our... Ladies and gentlemen, this brings our ceremony to a close. The Prime Minister will mingle a little bit. We are going to invite you to join us for refreshments. And we thank you for coming this morning. Let us hear it again for our Prime Minister, the Most Honourable Andrew Holness. Mr. Siago, you want some pictures?
Yes.
Some pictures?
Yes.
Maybe if you stand on the other side of the